A video game speedrunning convention named Awesome Games Done Quick has canceled their 2023 winter convention out of political protest of Florida governor's policy about the Coronachan panic and sexual and gender minority rights. On September 7th, their official Twitter account for Awesome Games Done Quick has announced that they have canceled their Florida convention, which they were planning to be held since 2021 in protest of Governor Ron DeSantis' back to normalcy approach to Coronachan and for his Parental Rights in Education Act, which has been called by political activists as the Don't Say Gay Act. In one of the tweets posted by AGDQ Twitter account, they said, "It's official, AGDQ 2023 will be taking place online January 8th through the 15th. While we love to turn in person, we return that to provide a safe and welcoming event to all, it was best to move away from our originally planned location in Florida. See thread below. Given the state's continued disregard for Coronachan's dangers, including anti-mandate policies and increased aggression towards sexual and gender minority individuals, which they have not shown any proof of that, including the law currently known as the Don't Say Gay, we do not believe it is a safe place for our community." You can see the full statement in a link down below in the description section. Reading the entire description, the real reason why they canceled their 2023 convention is less about politics and more about economics. But in reality, it's both. They were planning to move their convention out of Florida and to another state instead of changing their charity fund recipient from a cancer awareness charity to a sexual and gender minority organization or organization dedicated to treating people who have been negatively affected by the Coronachan panic. Just advise people that do circumstances beyond their control. They're just going to tell people that they are forced to operate as normal, and they will advise people if they're still concerned about Coronachan to wear face masks and get fast. And 3, make a remote option a feature of the convention if they cannot attend because they still live in fear. Awesome Games Done Quick in summer in Minnesota had that option, even though the actual convention was super Coronachan woke, with almost every participant wearing N95 masks, KN95 masks. There is nothing in federal or state law preventing them to protest laws by making it a protest, making the convention for 2023 a protest by raising funds to any charity that they choose. But that would have been too much since they won't be able to virtue signal. So they plan to move the convention from Florida. Until they realize by doing so, they will have to pay a cancellation fee for breaking the original contract in the Florida venue, and or forfeit a sizable deposit, and pay more in costs in finding a venue, setting it up, and organizing it. So instead of going back to normal in Florida, they canceled the event entirely by breaking the contract and going online only for a third time. And they're raising funds to recoup the cost of canceling the convention due to the loss of deposit. So it's finances and politics. More like politics driving the financial costs that's causing it. Absolutely nothing to do with health and safety. This is done at the expense of the people who want to return to a normal convention. The average person who attends these speedrunning events just to watch players speedrun their games. Because the speedrun community, along with a substantial amount of the fan convention community, is like this. And normal ones are being alienated from their own hobby and scene. Many actual attendees had to do without or travel out of state for normalcy when their states open up, because a lot of current runners don't care anymore about the quality of their conventions since March 2020, and it's causing a collapse of the fan convention industry. It's not obvious, but we are slowly seeing it, and the quality of the conventions being lower, to the panels, and to the customer service that is being degraded due to the mask and facts policies. The real question is why there is no pushback from people who want a normal convention. Because the people who don't want a back to normal convention have been getting a steady diet of fear-mongering, fear propaganda, and political propaganda from social media. And they're the loudest on social media, especially on Twitter. The fan convention scene, especially anime cons, video game conventions, except for the few ones involved, except the few ones that are operating as normal on the first chance they got. They're basically the last holdouts. And especially for games done quick, they're basically the only ones that are canceling their convention for, I don't know, the third time in Florida, where everything else is back to normal. Even a good portion of anime cons are basically done with Coronachan, because they realize that they're losing money and they cannot afford to virtue signal. This raises the question if this convention is a charity or a political organization. And if it's the latter, this will be an unprecedented time for anyone to make their own speedrunning convention to compete against AGDQ. But due to the fact that the anime convention scene is a political monoculture, it will not happen anytime soon. And as for the online conventions, while they're famous and popular, the live streams are incredibly boring because most of the good and entertaining speedrunners like Trihex, Summoning Salt, and Tomato A, people who have set world records in the speedrunning community, have been pushed away due to the culture change that started in 2014. That's when AGDQ went slowly corporate, and went all in 2018 when it went fully corporate, super uptight and professional, and eventually slowly got into woke fundamentalism. So now a lot of these live streams are boring, because if any participant makes a funny joke, you can be banned from the convention almost immediately, even for the tiniest infraction. This is why AGDQ has declined in popularity, as a result, and a decline that is rapid since March 2020 onwards. For the mention of Florida's aggression against the sexual and gender minority community, they provide no proof of said aggression other than mentioning of the Parental Rights in Education Act. If they actually read the bill below, which most opponents of the bill have refused to or have not, it merely says that children 3rd grade and below cannot be taught about sexuality or identities, and anyone above the 3rd grade can be taught about identities and sexuality as long as it's age appropriate. And most children do not care about sexualities and identities. They just want to go to school, have friends, talk to friends, and afterwards they play video games, watch anime, do homework, eat cereal, hot dogs, whatever. And Florida does have a thriving sexual slash gender minority community, a thriving gay community. So which community that they're referring to? But these conventions have made it very clear that they do not want to operate as normal. And by the way it looks at things, AGDQ will be operating as an online-only convention indefinitely, using the upcoming economic depression as an excuse. These conventions should not be supported with any more of your time and money if they actively refuse to operate as normal. Same goes for any other convention that refuses to operate as normal. But unfortunately, so many convention attendees have proven to have no principles or standards. So conventions like this will continue to operate unless there is a total economic collapse, which I fear that is going to come in the next few months, around winter of 2022-2023. But I'd like to know what you feel about this in the comment section. And if you see this video as informative, please share this video. Please like this video. It helps me out in the algorithm. So there's so many independent YouTubers like me that are struggling to get it out there to the public. This is JK from the Ministry of Otaku speaking. Hope you have a wonderful weekend.